One of the major contributors to climate change is the pumping of water out of the ground and or uphill by use of hydrocarbon power, fossil fuels, nuclear, even so-called renewables. It's these activities and all of the carbon offsets that are associated with all these activities to take water from the bottom of a hill to the top of the hill and then distribute it downhill through a city. That's the major contributor to climate change, because water is heavy, very, very heavy. Okay? So imagine if you're using 250 gallons of water a day. It's equivalent to taking one of these square water tanks and trucking it in the back of a pickup truck and driving it whatever the distance is and to a different and higher elevation, and whatever the energy is from there to here is what it costs at the end of the cycle to pump water uphill. That's actually way up here. But even before all of that can occur, before energy is used in the form of electricity, gas-powered pumps, whatever, before that can occur, the base material for the energy, in this case hydrocarbon, coal or oil or nuclear, okay, has to be mined. And then all of the carbon activity, or generating activity in regards to that, the human beings involved, the transportation, the driving to the work site, that sort of thing. And eventually, after the harvesting, the processing, and the transportation of whatever it is, the energized fuel. Energized fuel that's used for high pressure energy generation to boil water at power plants for conversion of energy for the generation of power. Conversion and generation are the same thing. Okay, now, even if you replace this type of high pressure generation with low pressure, solar, wind generation, you have the costs, the carbon offsets of just the manufacturing and the acquisition of the base materials necessary to do that. So long before you get to the point that you're even expending energy, whatever it is that you either harvested, processed, had to transport, had to put in queue, you're doing all of that in order to generate enough pressure, thermodynamic pressure, to pump water uphill. And after you pump it uphill, you use it going downhill. In most cases, you use it one time. In many cases, 40% of the water is completely wasted. You don't use it at all. Okay? Now, imagine this is 100% of the energy and the carbon, in this case, the carbon produced here. Simply by use of water, not to absorb CO2, but to negate the need to generate CO2. Just by the use of water captured on a rooftop, which is the most universal solar power, aqua power collection system that exists all over the world, then simply to capture, contain, and pressurize that water by storing it uphill, okay, and then simply using it downhill in elevation for gardens, for drinking, for municipal water use inside a home, for cleaning, that sort of thing, drinking. But also, in the case of municipal cities, your greatest benefit of systematically capturing 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 20, 30 tons of water off a building a month in rainfall is the mitigation of water flowing into your combined sewer rainwater systems, which automatically on every rainfall puts raw poison, raw sewage into your waterways. Now, one would think if they had a robust and beautiful rain, okay, that the rivers would be flooded with clean drinking, clean rainwater that would flush the system. But because of the configuration of the man-made infrastructure in municipal cities, every time it rains, it poisons the environment. Every time it rains, it poisons the environment. So just as here, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction going this way, the generation of carbon, okay? In our case, the action, the intellectual effort, the understanding, the consideration of others, the consideration of being stewards of the environment, stewards of the creation, effectuates your mind into empathetic thought and allows you to use what you already have, the acres of diamonds, of rainfall falling on rooftops, in order to passively collect water that just doesn't run into the drain. If you get a ½ inch, quarter inch, or a full inch, 3 inches of water, if you're capturing water on a rooftop, you're filling up this containment system, okay, right here, and you're pressurizing it. It becomes the fulcrum of change, the fulcrum of climate change. You're using water to counteract the need to generate, convert, harvest, poison water, boil water, utilize extensive manpower, other raw materials besides battery materials and that sort of thing, generation, energy materials. You're using a natural, consistent system that's been in place for 4 billion years on this earth of energy generation, because water is energy, generation is conversion, water captured energy utilized to do different things, power and work. Now, once you simply start this simple process, you start, even a little bit, taking the pressure off carbon generation in the atmosphere. But at a very minimum, and I'll close it this way so you can think about this. Look at what it costs the environment, the society, the earth, because you desire the convenience to turn on a spigot to water your garden. When if you simply put a bucket right here and captured the amount of water that you would put on your garden, you negated all the carbon generation activities that are heating the planet by putting a bucket under your downspout. We're just simply here enhancing that, putting a larger container here. In some of our other things, you see that we've pressurized it, we've changed it. But at the very minimum, what was 100% of usage, this right here uses about, going downhill, the management of water, even its worst case scenario, is about 3%. So you have 97% climate mitigation simply by capturing and using water downhill rather than continuing to pump water uphill. The only reason you haven't thought about this, the only reason you haven't done this is you haven't thought it through. You're looking at different little aspects of it. But one has to have a comprehensive overview, a block diagram overview of what is occurring in a system before you can make decisions on that system. Now, regardless whether and wherever or however you decide to interdict means apply this knowledge, okay? You will change everything about the way you think, the way your world runs, and you will cool the atmospheres of Earth by using water falling from the sky.